Rob, ازيك?
And Aquarius.
So you were in Egypt for the last 2 weeks, I think?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, for how long have you been learning Arabic?
The Egyptian dialect has been a year and a half. Yeah.
Okay. And how long did you stay in Cairo?
11 days.
So actually the pyramids was one of the best experience. Can you
Absolutely.
please tell me more about it and how did you feel when we got into the pyramid and so on?
So everyone was very friendly. They're definitely trying to sell you a lot of stuff all the time, but luckily I had you to kind of back me up. Because once they started hearing you speaking Arabic right back, they showed a little bit more respect to kind of back off. But everybody was very respectful, and I had a blast. You can see it in all the pictures, riding a camel. Of course, going into see King Khufu.
Yes, Khufu.
I'll tell you what, I was humbled. I figured it wasn't going to be anything going into this pyramid, going up the stairs and everything like that. But when you've got a squat going down for a good, 5-10 minutes and everything like that, I had a blast though. But I noticed that a lot of other people were struggling too. It was very humid in there. But it was a good experience, and a lot of people that have seen that video, my friends and family, they thought it was really cool. I had a blast going in there.
Okay, so it was
the scenery was phenomenal. I loved it the most.
Rob, are you okay? Okay, great.
We also went to, I don't remember the name of the restaurant. You decided to, and you had everything perfectly timed.
Yeah.
Exactly. We went there right when the sun was setting. You can even see pictures of that. We have pictures of the sun setting and everything like that with the pyramids. We have one where we have, I had like the trees and the sunset like in the middle of it. Like I even have that on my WhatsApp picture and on your website now too. It was great. Experience.
You remember when we were in the restaurant, there were like the call of prayer at the same time the sunset, at the same time you're watching the pyramids. So yes. You're watching something religious, you're watching something ancient, and you're watching something natural.
Yeah.
So, and then we went to the Museum of Civilizations, which we had like the 22 mummies.
21 mummies.
21 mummies. So
I had to correct you.
Exactly. So what was your experience about that?
Okay, so everything was great going into it. When we went down to the simulation where you had, the moving parts and the theater part of it.
Yeah.
You kept asking me at first. I'm like, why does he keep asking me am I feeling the vibes? I'm like, what vibes? But then when we went in there, I'm like, okay, this is starting to feel more in the flesh and real. So then we went downstairs. The only thing I didn't like though, Ahmed, I was kind of upset that we could not film and take pictures. That's the only thing I didn't like.
Because the flash would harm the mummies, That's what the point.
And that's where it got really interesting though. So now we get down there, right, to see the mummies, the fingers and stuff like that. Certain ones had teeth missing. I know this kind of sounds weird. You had to definitely pay attention to the details of the mummies. And then Queen T, she actually still had a head full of hair after 7,000 years. I was like, you got to be kidding me. How did they?
Hair.
Yeah, that was the most.
Actually, all the Egyptian women, they feel jealous out of Queen T.
Definitely seeing all the details of each mummy. And like I said, how the way they have to keep them in a certain temperature and everything like that. Because you and I, both being engineers, were like, what is that little USB piece that they got going on there? Like we weren't even paying attention to the mummies anymore. We were paying attention to like the technology. And then back to the museum, of course, going there, being in the flesh, seeing all the other ancient artifacts and everything else was great too as well. But the mummies were definitely the cool part.
As we have 6 civilizations in the Museum of Civilizations. Okay, talking about the view, how did you like the view of the Cairo Towers? You went to the Cairo Towers.
It was amazing,
Tower.
and definitely I'm again like since Cairo Towers, when you actually get up there on the top, it's a little bit narrow and there's a lot of people up there, but you don't have a lot of space to kind of move around on there. But it was really cool seeing the bridges, the Nile River.
Rob, what are you doing here? Right now we're watching the sunset in Cairo Towers. Okay, how do you feel about it? Love it.
Then we went to the old market.
So
how was it?
I'm a pretty quiet and private guy, right? I don't really go out and do too much of that kind of entertainment. It was great. But when you walked us right to that music, I said we have to go back.
Exactly, yeah.
We have to go back. And you're like, you almost looked at me like, what, you want to leave? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't want to sit right next to that speaker. I'm like, it's too loud. Other than that, though, they had a guitar player, they had a bongo player. That was cool. They had like a little mini band there. That was great. I got choked out by the dancer. What else?
You know,
the sambusa was great too. I love the sambusa in Egypt, and not even that too. They actually had really good salad there too. So the food there was actually really cool. So the food there was great, and the experience was good. If you don't like being around super loud music, just don't sit next to the speakers. That's all I'm saying.
You know why? Because last time when other 5 of my students, when they were here in Cairo,
Okay, so I'm glad that
awesome experience, I think.
And I had a better experience. See, I'm glad that you and I came up with a really good plan for this whole trip. Anyone that's watching this, if you guys want to book a tour, if you have more time, to more than 5 or 6 days, I can't tell you what to do or how to do it, but definitely plan a few months ahead like me and you did, because it was great. Everything was perfectly on time. It worked out perfect. But so the boat ride was really cool. The first part of it was really cool. Seeing the statues, and they kind of stopped and told you about everything.
Famous colossal statues of the king was cut entirely in the rock, along with the nearby temple of Ramesses' favorite queen, Nefertari. The 2 temples were rescued from the waters of Lake Nasser when the Aswan High Dam was being built in the 1960s.
Then as we got further into the boat ride, all the they had sceneries, and they had specific people there like showing the jobs that they would do on a daily basis, like simulated. And then I thought that was really cool experiencing that, seeing what they went through.
Glassmaking was introduced into Egypt after the military campaigns of Tutmosis III about 1450 BC, when captive glassmakers were brought here from Syria. Glass was used for making beads, inlays, amulets and small vessels, which were formed around a core, as glass blowing was not invented until the 1st century BC. This scene shows the different stages in decorating a stone wall. First of all, the surface is level, then smoothed and polished with a piece of hard stone. Grid lines are marked in red on the prepared surface to ensure accurate enlargements of the original drawing. The artist copies the outline onto the wall, working from the sketch made by the chief artist on a small slab of stone or a piece of papyrus. Then the sculptor carves the design in relief with his mallet and chisel. Finally, the details would be painted in color to make the picture look as realistic as possible. statues were partially carved in the quarry where the stone for them was cut. First of all, the block of stone is separated from the rock face by hammering wooden wedges into holes cut in the rock. The wedges are soaked with water, and as the wood expands, the block breaks away. After the stone has been smoothed and polished, the profile of the work is outlined on one side, and then the sculptor carves out the figure, rounding it off first on the front and then on the back. Vases were made from various kinds of stone, particularly alabaster, a soft stone which was worked into beautiful designs. After the rough piece of alabaster has been polished smooth, the inside is hollowed out with a drill with a flint or copper bit. The vase is sunk into the ground to prevent cracking during drilling. Alabaster vases were used as lamps and for storing perfumes and precious oils.
And then, of course, the day I became a pharaoh, you'll see the pictures of me. That was a good experience.
By the way, the place that Tutankhamun was buried, actually it has 5,000 pieces. 5,000 pieces. And almost 4,000 of the 5,000 are not shown yet. And they all will be shown in the new Grand Museum.
Okay.
Remember when we went to the Egyptian Museum in the second floor?
Yes.
The place where we saw his masks and some of the stuff he used to own. So this is the only part which is shown. Maybe 500 or 300 pieces, but actually he has 5,000 pieces. Even in the new Grand Museum, Tutankhamun has his own area, his own part, because it's gonna contain 5,000 pieces. Okay, so then in the last day, we had a meal by the Nile, and we had a ride with the boat.
Okay, so we'll go with the Nile, but I also want to mention something else too on that day, because we did something else too that day. But the Nile, the experience was great on the boat. So you got an ultimate compliment from one of your, I don't know if it was your students or somebody you know. You told me that when you showed them the pictures, they thought you were in Dubai, and
yeah,
that's an ultimate compliment with the lighting and everything like that. Which, don't get me wrong, it was good, but before we actually got there, I forget exactly where we parked, but I remember we walked over a bridge, and I was taking a whole bunch of pictures there. We saw the lions.
The big lions.
Yes,
yeah.
the big lions. That was really cool. But we walked for about 15 or 20 minutes, so that was cool seeing the city. But here's the thing though, when we actually got on the boat and then went riding, I didn't realize how much we actually missed, because I was like, hey, what are those little places down there, that little statue and the restaurants and everything? I think we got me doing a pose there, and then I was like, hey, do we have more time? Do you have to go home right away? I'm like, I want to go over there and see all that stuff. That was really cool. So when you get on the boat, you can actually see everything, below too, and then going above. But I got to see, we saw a wedding. We saw a boat going by with a wedding going on, and then a whole bunch of other people like celebrating and jumping and dancing at the same time on the boat. So that was cool seeing the experience. But I'm going to add on to, for that, this goes back to our plan. How you asked me, you said you got two choices. Do you want to see the sunset on the Nile or on Mokantam?
Yeah.
Mokantam Mountain. So Mokantam Mountain was awesome too. The view was great. Again, I think you can see, I like how you can see the freeways from there. And then not even that, we can also see the Museum of Civilizations. There's like a little diamond, the pyramid right there. Exactly. And then the mosque lighting up too. That was really cool. Do is get to Egypt safely, and Ahmed's got your back. So don't worry about it. He can drive anywhere in the world, I promise you.
Because I know that we have crazy traffic in Cairo. I'm saying this, me myself. I know that the traffic in Cairo is quite crazy. And actually, Rob, he had given me credit of I can drive anywhere in the world as I can drive in Egypt. Actually, we also went to Alexandria, and we had seen the
Bibliothèque Library.
Exactly, which has 2.5 million books.
Oh, and also too, that little simulation with the mummy, and how you can look up the specific details on it was really cool too.
I like the technology about that table.
This is the application of the mummy of Niswayo. Niswayo was an ancient Egyptian priest. He was living in Egypt during the Roman period of Egypt. And here we can see his coffin with all of its details. We can see the guards of the coffin inscribed here. You can see some of the details inscribed here also. Then we can make more than one transverse section at the same time to see the consecutive layers inside it. You can see the body, the green color, the skeleton of the mummy. Then we can open it from here to see the inner coffin, cartonnage, wrapping, and the body of the mummy. And also you can see some colored objects here. Those are called the amulets. They were putting those amulets with the body of the mummy for the protection of the body against like giving the good luck for the person in the afterlife after his death.
Okay, Rob, thank you very much. I hope I can see you again in Egypt, in Luxor, Aswan, Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada. We have a lot to do all around Egypt, so you need to come back again. But again, thank you for giving me the chance, for being your tour guide, to take you all around Cairo. And inshallah, we'll see you again in Egypt.
Hinshuf, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Afwan awi.
Shukran. Ma salama. Bye bye.
All right, ma salama.